You're listening to Stu's Wrestling Podcast, live from the North Wales coast. It's time for your host, Stu Palmer!
My guest today for episode 106 of Stu's Wrestling Podcast is none other than owner and promoter of the LWF, the Lancashire Wrestling Federation, Steve Bibby.
Hey, Stu, do I always have to be here in the tux doing these shows?
I haven't paid you being this far, and we've run 106 now, Mike.
Can I go home?
If you have to, mate, but you have to be here when I need you.
I've been here for every episode.
At my beck and call.
I've done 106 introductions.
You sure have.
It's Stu's Wrestling Podcast!
Jock Joe, it's an absolute pleasure. And can I just sing one line of your entrance music, please, sir, before we get going? He's the Mountie. He got under my skin when I was a kid, but he always got his man. There you go. Just brief. But yeah,
Hi, Stewie. Don't quit your day job. Don't go into singing.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong there. Yeah, I'll stick to podcasting. That's yeah. I'm never going to be sick. Jacques.
This is TJ Wilson, aka Tyson Kidd, and you're listening to Stu's Wrestling Podcast.
Welcome back. And we are on the monumental 160th episode of Stu's Wrestling Podcast. And my guest is a returning guest, a man I had on for 2 episodes during 2022. We've become really good pals as well. This man keeps in contact with me. He's so positive. He's such a great influence across the wrestling business. And a lot of them, a few, I tell you, it is Mr. George Pantas, the owner of Virginia Championship Wrestling on Stu's Wrestling Podcast today. Hello, George.
What an introduction. With that, I don't know what else to do. So thank you so much for having me and have a good day. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
You can't do this to me. I need you for an hour and 20 minutes because we've got a lot to get through. And I'd like to begin with, obviously, Virginia Championship Wrestling. 2 dates coming. And I would like to begin with the November 11th event, which you've got from Alexandria, Virginia, including 2 AEW Dynamite people. Absolutely. It's Mr. Wheeler Yuta and Nyla Rose coming to Virginia. So, yes, George, I know you've got a lot to tell us about this fantastic event. And there will also be a retirement for one of your mainstays within the promotion as well.
Yes, indeed. We are so happy to announce to our fans, and many, of course, have congratulated us already about the fact that we are expanding to Northern Virginia. This has been a goal of ours for more than a few years now, and we're finally able to make it happen. We wanted to make the right impact, have the right names there to really grab everyone's attention. And how can we go wrong with this? We have Yuta, we have Jax from AEW. These are, of course, now international stars, and they are gracing our stage and our show on November 11th. We are over. I'm going to have to put my glasses on. We're all over at, what's the name of the location? At the Leonard Chick Armstrong Recreation Center. This is in Alexandria, Virginia. The front row has been sold out almost from the time we announced it. And November 11th will be a monumental day. We have tremendous matches in store for our fans. And also, Logan Easton LaRue has decided to, I'm not the only one that's retiring, so is Logan. This is actually where he is from. And he has been our former heavyweight champion. He is our current tag team champion with The Reason. And he and Wheeler Yuta have a history of wrestling from Chikara and all over the United States, really. And this is, in a way, their rubber match. They've wrestled twice. And this will be the opportunity to see who the better man is, and what a great way for Logan to go out than to wrestle with this international star Wheeler Yuta. So we're very blessed that this match was taking place. We worked hard to make it happen, and now it is. So, and of course, we have Nyla, as you mentioned. She is competing, and she's from that area as well. And this was another reason why we wanted to time it just right. Both of these wrestlers live in the area, so we know we will have all three of them will have this tremendous support. Of course, Bohr has had his hands full lately with Joe Keys. I had to physically separate them at our last show, and I'm telling you, it's just one of the many reasons why I've decided to retire, which we'll talk in a minute.
Absolutely.
I just can't do those physical pull-aparts anymore, among other things. And so this match is going to be a barn burner, as they say. And so the whole card from beginning to end is tremendous. And we encourage our fans to go to vcwprowrestling.com for more update information and, of course, to purchase those tickets.
Absolutely. What a stellar event, and fantastic. Having that mix of guys, established people within, international stars. It's great. It's great for your guys, your VCW mainstays, isn't it? To, get in the ring with these guys. And I just love the fact that you can see talent from other promotions, AEW, etc. now, they really do.
And before we leave this, you were blessed. Like you said in the intro, we do stay in touch and talk a lot. I consider you a very dear friend. And when AEW came to England, I have a feeling somebody was there. I know.
Absolutely. George, I had to be there. Now, I've told you off camera, it was 1992 was the last time I was at Wembley Stadium. I haven't been there for the football, the soccer, believe it or not, which is my first passion. Wrestling a close second. So it was my second time. Obviously, I was at the old Wembley before it was demolished in 92. And when I heard it was being announced and it was Wembley Stadium, I had to be there, George. Had to be there. I said like years before when they said in 2019 that they would run a show in UK. I just had to be there, like so many others. And people from over 70 countries came to London for that show, which is just incredible. It was
incredible. I'm so glad you got to experience 80,000 people. Of course, you've experienced the WrestleManias as well. We've talked about that in our last episode.
I love that.
And we happened to be at the number 30 together. How awesome is that?
Absolutely. Yes.
You truly are an amazing fan, and it comes in your passion with your podcast. I cannot recommend enough to all the fans listening Stu's Wrestling Podcast. It really warms my heart to know you are all over. You're like, I was trying to count, I lost track, like 9-10 different platforms. I see the comments that the fans make over and over, and you really work hard to provide your listeners with some incredible guests. And I consider myself very fortunate to be one of them. So fans, make sure to always tune in to Stu's Wrestling Podcast.
Thank you for plugging me there. I appreciate that.
It was from the heart.
5-star plug there, which is what I come to expect with Mr. George Pantas. Absolutely. Now, moving on, there is a show on December 2nd as well. So I'm going to pull the graphic up now. And as you alluded to briefly, it is going to be your retirement from wrestling, which I was shocked by, actually, when you told me about this. But yeah, it's going to be Titans of Destruction at the Norfolk Masonic Temple, which is a venue you've run many, many times, haven't you, over the years?
It's basically our home base. It's where, and it's absolutely, you've seen the videos that I've sent you. It's an absolutely incredible venue. We're able to do some pyro, well, not pyro. We're able to do some lights and really present a beautiful product to our fans. And we are always very happy when we have our shows there. Yeah. Yes, this is a bittersweet moment for me. I didn't expect to get emotional already. It's time. I'm not going to totally disappear. I don't want to mislead the fans or you for that matter. I'm still going to work behind the scenes and continue to plug our love for professional wrestling, for Virginia Championship Wrestling, and of course, AEW, WWE, Impact, TNA now as it is known again, and NWA, which we'll be talking about. So I'm not disappearing completely. I just can't be physically active anymore. We've talked about my the severe tendon tear that I'm dealing with right now on my foot, and as we get older, I'll be 68 in February, Valentine's Day.
You don't look 68. I'm telling you.
Thank you.
You look well. You look well, honestly, man. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sorry, I interjected then.
No. I appreciate the compliment. And not only will we have an incredible card for our fans, and we're still in the process of I know what it is, but we have not fully announced the different matches. As we see from the graphic, some of our regular stars that will be there, from Brandon Scott. We see, of course, Joe. Oh, yes, the names are on here. Good. Joe Keys, Devontis, Bohr, Moses, Golden Pinky Society, and the best for last, right on the very top up there, we see good old George Pantas with, I'm going to get emotional again. David Crockett and I have been friends, gosh, at this point for over 40 years. And when I announced that I was going to retire, I knew that there was only one person that I wanted there with me to reminisce, to kind of help hold me in. We're Greeks are very emotional people. We'll cry if we miss the bus. So David will be there not only to share that special evening with me, but also we will have a great photo up for the fans. We're going to have David right by the ring holding the VCW mic like he's interviewing the fans, and they will be able to get a nice post picture with him. And of course, he'll answer any questions for the fans. So it's definitely a very, very emotional night for me, and I'm sure for the fans. I've been very blessed that they love me very much, and of course, I love them unconditionally. And it's going to be an event for the ages. Okay. So fans, get those tickets and be there. You do not want to miss seeing all the excitement that we have for you, and the opportunity for us to get that photo up together ourselves and hug and kiss. I look forward to seeing all of my fans there, and family and friends.
Absolutely.
So go again to VCWProWrestling.com for tickets and more info about the upcoming matches.
We've had a couple of comments as well, George. So I'm just going to pull up a couple of these for you. I know you'll answer all questions. My good pal, Lawrence Lazar Johnson, all the way from Brisbane in Queensland, Australia. Good day, all. Greetings from Brisbane, Queensland, Australia.
Let me jump in on that. Lawrence, I don't know him personally. I was actually getting ready to respond. So, Lawrence, I know you're listening. I'm going to respond back to your comments when we get off the camera here. But I want to personally thank you. Lawrence tags me and everything and shares my posts over and over. And it's such a blessing. When I see that, Lawrence, you put a big smile on my face. So thank you, my friend, for doing that.
Thank you, Lazar. You're always on the lives on these and commenting, and keep your comments coming in, because I know George will answer all questions. He's been around the business for so many years. The Guardian of Chaos, the GOC, hey Stu, he's been around wrestling on the East Coast of America for years. I know he's with Mario Mancini and Paul Roma, but he's also got, there's another question here, George, as well. I'm going to fire it up now. He has got a question, an opinion actually. He's saying Nyla Rose as a headliner is not going to sell tickets, and he said, just my opinion. And I know you'll answer all questions.
Of course, and we welcome all questions. The beauty of professional wrestling is that we try to include everyone and and give the opportunity for fans to see their favorite wrestlers. I respect your opinion. Of course, I disagree, or we would not have Nyla on there. And I can personally say from the comments that I've received in my messenger that I had several fans say, thank you for bringing Nyla, because it's difficult. The problem with an AEW or with a WWE, it's very difficult to see the the wrestlers up close. We give them that opportunity, and not just our independent shows, but also all independent shows. I know they do their best. And so honestly, my friend, thank you for making the comment. I disagree with you. And we know that Nyla has already sold tickets, and there are fans that cannot wait to meet with Nyla and get that photo up. So that's my response to that.
No, that's fine. I will pull at the. I know you'll answer. I know you'll answer, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? You know, within the wrestling business. Well, we do have difference of opinion, but yeah, no, it's very constructive as well. There we go. Lazar again, Judge Pantas, much appreciated.
My pleasure.
I'm moving on to a former employee of VCW who has gone on to work for WWE, specifically NXT. He was your former commentator, known as Blake Chadwick when he was with you, but he's now Blake Howard in NXT. And I know you wanted to talk about him and just how well he's done, and now he's on the international scene with NXT.
How blessed are we and Blake and the fans, and again, wrestling fans. That's what independent wrestling is all about. You get to see the stars before they become stars, or you get to see them while they go on and appear on the bigger platform. So yes, Blake Chadwick, his real name, and now his WWE name is Blake Howard. He started with us, oh gosh, 14, 15, 16 years ago, and has become the voice, or at least at this point, I guess, was the voice of Virginia Championship Wrestling all these years. Was special in my segments, and helped me when I've had my dealings with the director of operations, Jerry Stefaniches, through the years. And now Blake is on an international stage, as you said, co-hosting with Byron Sexton, Level Up. It comes on the Peacock channel every Friday night at 10 p.m. East Coast time. And of course, streamed almost immediately afterwards, the very next day, on many different platforms. And it's been such a joy. Blake and I are very dear friends, and we'll message each other. And it's just, I get emotional just talking about it because he's our homegrown. Mm-hmm. And he has performed his amazing skills on other wrestling promotions, MMA, you name it, he has done it. So as soon as I found out that Blake was signed with the WWE, I knew that they had done the right decision. And it's very obvious that they did, because he's been featured more and more prominently on Level Up. And it's amazing to just see this incredible moment transform in front of us. We're very proud of you, Blake. And I know you're going to watch this afterwards. Blake, we're very, very proud of you. I love you very much. Onward and upward, my friend. The sky is the limit for you.
Fantastic. It's just great. You know, cream rises to the top, as the age-old adage goes. And yeah, just fantastic. Fantastic. And NXT, it's been really, really good for many years. I know they've rebranded, they've changed it a little bit, but yeah, I dip in and out of stuff because there's just so much to watch. I try and give a little bit to all the different promotions.
And you know, we were talking about Logan earlier. Logan has wrestled on AEW, and Brandon Scott, our former heavyweight champion, he has been on WWE on many occasions. And again, it's just a great opportunity for the fans to see the stars and then see them on an international platform. I mean, that's why it's important to support independent wrestling, whether we're in the UK, whether we're in Wales, whether we're in Australia, or good old USA right here.
Absolutely. Lazar, please send me that question. I've been busy. I've been working this morning, so I've missed it. So please copy and paste it, because I know George will want to answer any questions you have. And I'm sure it'll be a really, really good question as well. And yeah, Lazar again, love the Macho Man cream rises to the top promo. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, timeless from Macho Man. Although I did hate him when he was heel when I was a kid, but then I I learned to respect what he was actually doing when you can work out, oh, wait a minute, he was doing his job. Moving on, because I know we've got a lot to get through, George, and I'm just going to pull up another graphic as we move on. So your time, you've been synonymous with the NWA for many, many years in different guises. And, I know you've got a lot of links to the NWA. So I'm going to pull up a photo firstly. Wait a minute. It's going in. There we go. Mr. Barry Windham and JJ Dillon in the photo there.
Yes, indeed. And we were fortunate enough. One of my many, I've been very blessed in making connections through the years. And with JJ, especially, he and I go back from the early 70s when he was a journeyman wrestler right here for Jim Crockett Promotions. And that friendship, I think we talked about that in our last episode. So I won't go into detail, but he and I became friends from that time. And that friendship was just an important part in my later on when we do talk about, so I'll save the information about JJ when we talk about Paul Bearer's story.
Absolutely. We've got to touch upon that because I didn't know until you told me recently about that. And also moving on to a more current theme with NWA, there's a photo here with Mr. Billy Corgan, who's doing a great job. They've now got a broadcaster, which is fantastic. I'm so chuffed at what they've managed to do with Power and the pay-per-views, bringing the Crockett Cup back, all the nostalgia of NWA from many years ago. What a fantastic job Billy Corgan has done. And just your dealings with Billy when you've seen him recently.
I have been very blessed to become very good friends with Billy. And it all started with, as you mentioned, the Jim Crockett Promotions. And actually, before we get in there, I want to make sure I don't forget to say that as we speak tonight, there's a pay-per-view that the NWA is doing. I can't pronounce the name correct, Swain or something like that, in Ohio. It's very much a Halloween theme with every match having a stipulation. The Minister of Darkness and my friend James Mitchell is hosting it, and it's going to be an event definitely to remember, and it's going to be shown live on Fight TV. So I highly recommend everyone listening to go to Fight TV and get all the information about the big pay-per-view that they have going on starting tonight this weekend. So yes, with Billy. So I reached out to him when I found out he was doing the Jim Crockett Cup. I reached out to the NWA, and I shared with them, if you're going to have the cup, you gotta have David Crockett there to present it. And their response was immediate. Oh my God, George, we would love to have David. And so again, because of my friendship with David, we were able to make it happen. And this is more of a testament to those listening of the importance of going with your gut feeling. I did not have any connection. Oh, wow, what a beautiful picture. Thank you. Thank you for finding these pictures and putting them up on the graphic. These are amazing. To the fans out there, this was just a gut feeling I had, and I decided to reach out. And because of my connection through the years, I had phone numbers and so on. They could have easily said no, but instead they said yes. And because of that other picture that with JJ and Barry, and I've had Baby Doll. I've started to book the legends, if you will, for the NWA and anyone else out there listening. And it opened up the door for now this amazing friendship with Billy and the opportunity to help out behind the scenes. And it all started because they announced they were doing the Jim Crockett Cup tournament, and I reached out with the suggestion of involving David in presentation of the cup. So fans listening out there, always go with your gut feeling, because you never know what and where it will take you. It's an amazing ride, and I continue to work with them behind the scenes as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. I know how you've been intertwined with NWA through the years, such a long, long time, and it's heritage, isn't it? And it's great. I love it. I absolutely love it. I don't see Power as much as I used to. When Power was first out, I watched it religiously, but I have dipped in and out, throughout, and it's just fantastic the length of years you've had with the NWA. It's just amazing.
And it has come full circle, and I guess consciously, subconsciously, that was an ulterior motive on my part to be able to say, "Oh my God! After all these years, I'm working with the NWA again," and of course they're now NWA has not formally announced it. Of course, I was aware of the information, but some of the websites out there have announced that the NWA now, Billy Corgan has worked out a deal with CW, and they will have they will be on regular cable TV, and with 2 programs. NWA Power will be on there, and another format that they will have, sort of like a behind the scenes those reality show. And so it's exciting times. That will happen in 2024. NWA will make the formal announcement, and I can't wait to share it with the world when they do. So very exciting news for Billy Corgan's NWA. So proud of all the wrestlers working there, and I wish them the best for their big pay-per-view tonight.
I love Frill, Billy. He is going to be, when you can just tell, it's hard. It's, getting the wrestling correct and being good in the ring is one thing. But when your persona comes across and you can hold your own on the mic as well, which is hard to do, to have the whole package, that guy is going places. There's no question. I mean, his home is NWA now. And yeah, he's going to be well known throughout internationally. That guy, I can just tell a mile.
I totally agree with you, and I'll put a plug in for the man that trained him, and that's Dr. Tom Pritchard. Of course, we know who Dr. Tom is, and who has he not trained? From The Rock, from Vince McMahon himself. The list is endless. I highly recommend those listening to this to Google Dr. Tom Pritchard. You will be amazingly shocked and happy to see the lives and influences that he has touched in so many people. And of course, the brother of Bruce Pritchard, Brother Love himself.
Absolutely. What a family, what they've managed to do in the business. Just and the length of service from both men.
I meant to include in there that the Dr. Tom has a wrestling school where he continues to train young hopefuls. Thrill Billy being one of them, and he does it in conjunction with Kane, good old mayor of Knoxville, Abe Jacobs. Yes. So yes. So check that out as well, fans. Those of you in the United States looking to train, his school is one of the ones that the top that I recommend.
Absolutely. Lazar, I will get to your question for George soon. It's just I've got to run through some more bits and bobs because we've got a lot of topics today. But I will, don't worry, I know you put the question into George. Moving on, George, we've got to talk about Ric Flair's last match last year because you were there. You were there in person. And yes, there's so many graphics that I need to put up for this over that weekend, obviously. And just fantastic that you were there. You were able to be a part of that.
It really was. And it's all thanks. Well, first of all, I want to personally thank Conrad Thompson. Conrad was responsible for making all of this happen. He got together with David Crockett, and they decided that this would be the perfect opportunity. There's my friend Conrad to showcase Rick one more time. Of course, Rick, most fans know now that Rick is, and there's my nature boy. Woo! Rick is the father-in-law of Conrad. Conrad married Megan, and so the bond and friend is more than just the love that Conrad has for wrestling. It's the love that he has for Rick through the years, and now as member of the family. SummerSlam 2022 happened to be in Nashville. And so Conrad came up with a perfect idea because of it being on a Saturday night. Let's do something Sunday. And so he did his star cast and brought together just hundreds and hundreds of fans. Oh, I love that picture. And that's not just a pose to those fans looking at it. I actually went in there and had a special moment with Rick, and we'll just leave it at that. So when Conrad did this, I reached out to him and reminded him of my footage that he has used when he interviewed Jim Crockett. And I said, we have some of my footage, and I have matches of Rick wrestling against Wahoo and others. Feel free to use it. And not only did he use it, but gave me credit there at the end of the little mini documentaries that they did to tell the story. So my involvement was providing the footage, helping out. This blew me away. Now, this, fans, is actually a screenshot from episode 7 on the Netflix series Wrestlers, which is Ohio wrestling. That man, where'd you get all these pictures? And
I wonder, I've got to wonder where I got access to all these pictures.
So Al Snow now owns Ohio Wrestling, and they did a documentary on it. And I was just as shocked as everyone else when I saw that on the episode 7, and it's just a special surprise. So I'm right there filming the line that literally after 5 minutes of filming, Stu, I had to stop because I ran out of breath trying to run all the way around the building, across the street, across several streets. It was incredible and very emotional to see all those fans there wanting to support Rick in his last match. This one is, of course, it was a whole weekend of activities. This was at Ric Flair's roast. And what can I say? There's Wendy, Rick's wife, of course, Tori Wilson. And excuse me, Vicky, such a delight.
I tell you what, just to segue
Yes.
to Vicky, she could get the heat. Like, unbelievable, wasn't it? The amount of heat she was able to generate. And there again, you see, not easy to do. But when you can elicit a response in wrestling like she could, unbelievable. And, kept the Guerrero name going as well.
Yes, indeed. And of course, thanks to YouTube and everything else, a lot of super bad guys on that particular night. And it's one thing to see, and there's footage of the last match, of course, on YouTube from fans posting and everything else. It's one thing to see that on YouTube or on Fight TV or on the Premier Network that it can still be streamed. It's another thing to be there, Stu, and to those listening right now. I called it Memphis Heat when Jeff came out, and I'm very blessed to consider Jeff a friend, and Jay as well. I actually interviewed Jeff recently for his podcast, and stay tuned, fans. That will be coming out next week. My interview with Jeff, and Memphis Heat is what I called it. It was deafening. He was booed so much you couldn't hear anything else. And then they came over. He shoves Conrad. It was just, I have goosebumps right now just talking about it. How incredible that night was for everyone there. So and Jeff and Jay and Andrade and Rick and all the other matches, and Conrad and David, Tony Schiavone and David on commentary. They made it was a magical moment, and so grateful to have been a small part behind the scenes.
Our friend Mac Davis there from Georgia, from Savannah, Georgia. I'm going to get that right as well. Hello, Mac. It's good that
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Love you too, Mac. Thank you so much. Love you
so much for the pro wrestling business.
Yes.
Across all facets of the business as well over the years. And
what a voice. And not only,
absolutely.
Mac, I'm not just saying this, I mean it, not only a handsome face, but that voice, my God, he's perfectly suited for for everything that he's doing. And we love you, Mac. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I hear. I echo that from George as well. Now, moving on to another topic, a series which I've loved for the last 4 years or so that Vice have put out, but I know you've been involved as well. And it was to do with Magnum TA's episode of Dark Side of the latest season series of Dark Side of the Ring. So, yeah, your involvement with that, I'm going to put some images in as well as we talk about this, George.
Excellent. So, full disclosure, when Dark Side of the Ring came out, of course, I watched a couple of the episodes, and I was not that crazy about all the negative stuff. And I mean, it's life, it happens. But as you know, Stu, like you, I'm a very positive person, and so I was not a fan originally of the show. As a matter of fact, I'll pull the curtain back a little bit more. When they did the Tale of the Territories recently, and found out that David was going to be one of the people there promoting one of the episodes and talking about it. I tried to talk him out of it. I'm like, David, don't do it. Don't do it. Please don't do it. It's negative. Don't do it. George, trust me. This is very positive. I am so happy that David was right and I was wrong, because it definitely turned me around. And then when they reached out, I reached out and congratulated them. And when I found out that they were doing this very incredible positive story about Terry, Magnum TA, who's a dear friend, I offered to help in any way possible. And this is one of those beautiful moments that can't be scripted. And so, God is good always. And we happen to have brought in, and that's me, by the way, fans looking to the very right. That's a very young George Pantas at the Jim Crockett Cup tournament, the second one in Baltimore. And this was such an emotional moment. This was after Terry's accident, when he came out to the fans for the first time. And I was right there, right at ringside, and was just happened to be caught. This is from video footage that exists on YouTube, and I was very happy to see that I was on there. And they've also used on Terry's episode. So I highly recommend that people tune YouTube and go to Dark Side of the Ring and pull up Terry's episode. It's a very positive, motivational story of how he turned his life around after the tragic accident. He was paralyzed. Literally from the neck down. Yet he and they thought they had lost him. Yet here he is today, making fans happy. He's happily married. His beautiful wife Courtney. They have 2 beautiful children. There's also stepchildren involved, and just an incredible positive story. And there's my name in the credits.
More accreditation there, George. Which,
yes,
across all sorts of wrestling stuff from history, your name is synonymous in the titles, in end credits. So much, just amazing to me what you've managed to document over the years.
Thank you. I'll say it again. To God be the glory. I never thought that something like this would happen. When I filmed and we documented that story in our first episode that we did together. And I meant to look it up so we can tell the fans to go back what number it is. But I'm sure if you go on YouTube or all the platforms and put in George Pantas Stu's Wrestling Podcast, it'll pop up. So we tell the story there. But I never thought. I filmed the footage for myself. And then when I became a high school teacher, I showed some of that footage in the classroom as incentives to the students. Never thought in a million years that it would last. But God preserved it for me. And when I checked it out like 30 years later, because this is like Super 8 footage, and I saw that the quality was so good, we were able to put it on a documentary, Jim Crockett Promotions. That led to me reaching out to WWE. They were so excited to see my footage, and I sold about 6 hours worth of it. And we're so blessed, as you said, now to be used in so many documentaries and specials and you name it, it's out there. So very, very, very humbled and very, very blessed. And every time I see my name on there, it just puts that extra smile on my face.
I can imagine. It's just like from the fan in me, trying to get into your mind about how that must feel. And I know you've obviously explained there. It's just incredible, like fan perspective for me. Just crazy, isn't it? You just never know, do you? You just never know. Obviously, your relationship with WWE through the years with archivist Ben Brown, who's employed by WWE, which we spoke about in the first episode.
Yes.
Just thank you. Just thank you for all the stuff that you've managed to, put into the history of the business. Honestly, it's so nice.
I am forever grateful to Ben for making all that happen for me. And also, I want to plug in. Speaking of, you never know where it will lead you. My footage was actually used in another episode of Dark Side of the Ring, and that's the one about Abdullah the Butcher. And so I've come full circle there as well, where now I help them if I'm fortunate enough to have any footage of the different topics that they're talking about. So check that episode out as well, fans, on Abdullah that came out this season.
Sorry, George, I jumped in again. I apologize. You're the guest, and I'm jumping in on I am doing.
No, please do.
From an interviewee standpoint, I'm letting you down here, jumping in because you got so much to tell us.
You and I are a tag team, so
okay, yeah, I'll go in the ring once if you're my partner. Okay, absolutely, I'd do that, not a problem. In a heartbeat. Lasse, love Tales from the Territories. I loved it too. Obviously, The Rock was involved with that. Another Vice program, fantastic, just so good. I think the episodes could have been a bit longer, in my personal opinion.
Yes.
They covered a lot in a short space of time, but those episodes could have been longer. And let's hope that a second season comes out because they were brilliant. I love the round table aspect of it with the guys. George, what did you think of Tales from the Territories?
Very, very, very much. And if you remember with a couple of the first ones there, like with Memphis, they did a part 1 and a part 2.
Yes.
And I felt exactly like you. I wish they would make them longer. So let's pray that the season picks up again.
They were so fantastically done. And I think we just got a first. I've got a first for it because I'm learning about the territories all the time because we didn't get the territories over here. And it was just previous to me being born as well. We had WWE, of course, in the late 80s, but we didn't get the territory. So it's a treasure trove for me, George, going back and seeing all that because it's just amazing. My good friend Justin Clapper, who's been involved in wrestling up in Milwaukee there, he was a big proponent of AWA. I know that wasn't just territories, they were all over, weren't they?
Yes.
I've learned so much from him as well. Absolutely.
Very good.
Absolutely. Now moving on, because we've got plenty of topics to go with here. I'm going to put the title up and I'm going to put some graphics up as well.
Oh, I love this story. Okay.
Doom story, and I'm going to bring the late, great Animal on screen here. We lost another one too soon, didn't we?
Okay, so fans, this is one of those amazing stories. So as I shared with David Crockett, friend for over 40 years, there's a show here. I was so blessed here in this area to have Jim Crockett Promotions come to the Norfolk Scope. They would come here every other Thursday, and then over at the Hampton Coliseum, they would try to come once or twice a month there. And so I was blessed to be able to go to both shows. And so one of the times that the Road Warriors were there, David calls me over, says, George, I need a favor. They're staying out in Virginia Beach. Can you take them to their hotel? I said, I have no problem taking them, but I need to make you aware. All I have is a little Chevette, and for those fans not aware, that's a very, very small car. It has 4 doors, but we're talking these huge wrestlers. He said, well, just talk to Animal and Paul, and if they're okay with it. So, hey guys, I would love to take you. This is the car I have. Oh, no worries, George, we'll get in there. So it's over. Meanwhile, so I quickly said yes, and I would have done it regardless. I would do anything for David. But then I realized, oh my God, these are bad guys. Those fans are going to see them in my car and they're going to start throwing rocks and everything else. And we were not parked underneath. We were parked out. I was parked outside. So I said, guys, we just have to move fast. Okay. We just have to move fast. So I got him in the car. Fans started banging on my window. Thank God they didn't throw anything, but I was able to pull out. And I said, so I have Animal in the passenger and Paul and Hulk in the back. So and it was summertime, and at a certain point, Paul says, "Hey, Animal, George has the air conditioner on. Close the window." And I hear Animal say, "I can't close it." And I'm thinking to myself, well, what's his problem? Why can't he close it? Now, I didn't have one of those electric ones. You had to turn the handle to close the window, okay? So he said, "I can't close it." And then I kind of looked, and I realized why he couldn't close it. Muscles so huge, chest so big, that what you and I do for granted, just bring our hands in and turn the handle, he could not bring his hands down to turn the handle because he was so huge. And that image I just started laughing and laughing. And it's just one of those great memories that God rest his soul. I think about often and smile because he was just a very special, loving man. And I know how much his wife misses him, Kim, every day.
It's crazy, like how he, 60 years old, and it puts life into context. But what a tag team, and also losing Mike as well, Hawk, so early on, and he turned his life around as well.
Yes,
so sad, so sad, and if not one of the most iconic tag teams ever. I know that's subjective. People have different.
In that time frame, yes, they were definitely my favorite. It was amazing.
How many pairs of shoulder pads and spikes got sold? The foam ones, of course. I didn't get them at SummerSlam '92. They had them on sale. I had my Bret Hart glasses, George.
I love it.
It's a merchandiser's dream when you come up with things like that, and just incredible what they did for the business.
Incredible. Yes, incredible is the right word for it, and the mind that Vince had to use the merchandise. That's something that Ric Flair talks often, that he wishes that they had over in the WCW days.
Absolutely, great story as well. I enjoyed that. I know you told me previous to us going live, so yeah, that's great. And moving on, my title for Gordon Solie is not working, but I have got the image, so I'm going to put the image up. Gordon Solie, and this photo was taken from 1982.
Okay, at the TBS studio. Okay, that's what's so incredible about this. And so the backstory behind it is, as fans know, I'm Greek and hugely involved in the Greek community on many different levels. And there's an international really organization called the HEPA, American Hellenic Educational Progressive Association, and they were originally formed to help the Greeks who came over get them integrated into the American society, and eventually family takes care of family, and so they became more of a philanthropic organization. I was the local chapter president. I went to Atlanta where they had the national convention, and I said to myself, how can I go to Atlanta and not catch one of the shows? And so the way for us, the fans, it aired on TBS at 6:05 on Saturdays, but they taped it actually 11 o'clock in the morning at the studio. And so the story is very long because of our time. I'm going to condense it here, but basically I reached out, found out when and where I could go. I got there. And I didn't have a ticket to get in. They were free, but it's a small studio, and I was not able to go in. But quickly thinking, the person that I had spoken with told me that, if I get there early enough, I could go. She told me, this is for those listening out there, that she was not going to be there. And this is 1982, so it's not like cell phones where the security could check. So, and her name escapes me now, but I said to the security, but let's just call her Mary. But Mary said, I came all the way from Virginia. And Mary said, just to mention her name and I could come in. And the guy said, okay, fine. Since I knew a name, So he let me go in. And then during intermissions, Gordon Soley would, just kind of stay on the side over there. So I walked over because one of the things that Gordon would do, which was very smart on his part, he would mention fans that were in the audience and where they were from to give that national and international appeal. So I walked over during one of the breaks. He put his cigarette down. He was a heavy chain smoker. And quickly introduced, and I said that I was from Virginia and why I was there. And that was it as far as I was concerned. When I got home, I found out that he actually talked about me. He mentioned my name. Gordon Soley mentioned my name on TBS. At this point, I'm just a fan. It's 1982. I'm just a fan. And, I have goosebumps. And I have the video footage. I'll send that to you in messages so you can see it. It's just,
please do, George.
Goosebumps.
George, please do that as well. I know, obviously, you're going to be busy, family life, the wrestling, all the stuff. But yeah, please send that to me because I'd love to see it. I really would. Incredible. What a voice. For modern fans who don't know about Gordon Soley, he predated everybody else. Monsoon and Heenan, who was still my favourite tandem as a commentary. He was the voice of wrestling, wasn't he?
Yes, very, very much so. In Florida and Atlanta, all over, really. He's was a big influence on many of our commentators today. Jim Ross gives him credit, and so many others.
Absolutely. And more latterly, being involved with the NWA, WCW as well.
Yes.
When Bischoff came in.
That's right.
He was still doing stuff in the 90s, wasn't he?
Very much so. And I would be remiss if I don't mention the voice that I grew up with, not only, of course, Tony Schiavone, whose story itself is amazing. And he has his own podcast. And I've interviewed Tony in the past as well, promoting his podcast and everything else that he's doing. But Bob Caudle, for me, was the voice of Mid-Atlantic Wrestling. I was fortunate enough to meet him several times. And when I don't think we've talked about this, and we won't go into detail now, but I also helped promote South Atlantic Professional Wrestling for a while back in the 90s. And Bob Caudle was the commentator there, and I was fortunate enough to go to promote one of the shows that we were doing in Portsmouth, Virginia. And I'm sitting next to Bob Caudle, and he introduces me as the promoter for Virginia. And I'm going, oh, my God, Bob Caudle is introducing me on national TV that I'm the promoter from Virginia. I don't want to wake up.
Amazing. Pinch yourself moments, George.
Yes, sir.
With things like that, it's just you can't quantify it, can you? Sometimes it's just for it to happen to you like that. Someone who was part of your growing up in the business, and just amazing.
Very blessed.
Amazing. I'm loving this episode. I'm loving it. I love history. I love hearing about history of the business. So yeah, and we're going to move on to something a bit more current now. A friend of yours. It is the Road Dogg. Absolutely. And I'm going to put up a graphic here because you've interviewed him as well. So here we go.
Beautiful. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, and the original credit goes to Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn has been our VCW heavyweight champion. He wrestled for us for over the course of many years. And so when I was at StarCast with Rick's last match, went over to say hi to Billy, and Brian Road Dogg was right there next to him. And one thing got to another, and Brian had just started his podcast. So I said, well, I said to Billy, can you introduce me? I'd love to talk to him and get him to do an interview. And Billy introduced me, and Brian is just such a loving, incredible human being. We bonded immediately, became good friends, and it all started thanks to Billy, who's a very dear friend of course, of Brian's. And I was able to do this incredible interview that fans can find. And if you go on my website, fans, after this, I'll on Facebook, I'll put the link to this one so you can read it yourself. But this opened up a friendship. And of course, now Brian handles live events. He's vice president of live events. And just this last month or so, September 11, the historic day for us of that horrible, horrible event that happened. This year, just a month ago, Monday Night Raw had its show coming live from the Norfolk Scope. And so I reached out to Brian and I said, Brian, I have an idea. I can make this happen if you can make it on your side happen. And that is, it's 9/11. How more fitting than to have an honor guard with the flags, to have bagpipes playing and come out to the live audience and hopefully international audience. Oh, there they are. Thank you. And play maybe Amazing Grace. Just have that moment of reverence for September 11. Brian is a former Marine and actually was an honor guard himself at Arlington Cemetery. So he was like, George, I love this. I love it so much. I don't know if we can make it happen this year, but I guarantee you we will make this happen. If not this year, hopefully next. And I know that Brian worked hard behind the scenes, but for those that follow wrestling history, this was the exact same night that the huge announcement was made about Endeavor purchasing WWE. And there was just too many things going on behind the scenes for us to be able to make this happen. But Brian has said to me, first of all, he gave me permission to share this story. This is an exclusive. I'm sorry, should have said this. Stu, you're getting an exclusive because I had purposely decided not to talk about this since it did not happen. But the more I thought about our interview coming up, I reached out to Brian and he says, yes, George, feel free to tell them that we almost made it happen, but also make sure to say that this is an ongoing mission on our part, that we will make it happen. So, and that again just speaks volumes for Brian. So I love you, Raw Dog. I love you, Brian. God bless you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Another, again, I keep saying about this, another guy synonymous with the business. I've done so much within the business. He's got his podcast as well, which I've loved. I know obviously Ryan Katz was doing it, then Ryan Katz ended up going back to NXT, so it's Cassio Kid now hosting it with him. But yeah, fantastic show, isn't it? It's great.
It is. And we didn't mention the name, so let's make sure we mention the name. Oh, you didn't know?
Your ass better call somebody. I've just done a disservice to the Road Dog there. But yeah, absolutely, absolutely. George, before we go, there's a question as well for you to answer, but I'm just going to wait 1 minute. There's one more duty. There's one more item that I need to fire up. You were in consideration to be Paul Bearer.
Oh, my God, yes. We have to tell the story real quick. Thank you.
Ask about that.
Thank you. So when the young George Pantas looked very much Greek, of course, so the dark hair, the mustache, and legitimately fans listening to this, I would be stopped out. I would go to the mall, go to the supermarket, minding my own business, and wrestling fans would stop me and say, "You're Paul Bearer." So this is in the 90s. This is right when they had introduced Kane in the storyline. And I would honestly tell them, no, I'm George Pantas. And they would get upset to the point that I guess they're thinking, oh, Paul Bearer is a bad guy. He's, staying in his character. Finally, there were many, I shouldn't say many, there were more than several times that just to get them off my back, I would say, yes, I'm Paul Bearer. I would take a picture with them, sign my name, Paul Bearer, just to get them off my back, really, because they were so insistent. But that gave me an idea. And this ties us back to my story with J.J. Dillon. So it's the mid-90s. J.J. Dillon went on to become head of talent relations at then the WWF. And so I called J.J. I had his private number, still do to this day. And I called J.J. and I told him what was happening. And I said, look, I have an idea that I think has potential. And my idea was that I am the real Paul Bearer. The other guy is my evil brother, had me locked up in an insane asylum. And just like Cain was in an insane asylum and came out, Cain found me in the insane asylum, got me out. I managed Cain against the other Paul Bearer and Undertaker. We take it around the loop. And then come next WrestleMania, I turn on Cain. Well, JJ absolutely loved it. He took it to Vince. Vince liked it. JJ's words. Vince liked it. So it had potential. But as they say in life, timing is everything. And for those familiar with the history of in the 90s and WWF at the time, this is when Vince was going through the steroid trial. The government was determined to come after him. Of course, they weren't able to prove anything. Were the guys taking it? Yes, some of it, of course, was legal, but Vince was not involved with it. But he spent millions and millions and millions of dollars to get it, to take care of it, to the point that there were not only, and to show you how serious it was, going back to Jeff, his father, Jared, a very dear friend of mine, God rest his soul, was actually brought in to kind of oversee WWF for a while, just in case the government succeeded in locking up Vince. So because of all the money that was used in legal fees and everything else, not only were they not hiring, they were, yes, sir.
I need to just cut in. We lost connection. But you're obviously saying about the steroid trial with Vince. So just if you can just skip a little bit. It's just reconnected now. We're back on the live.
Okay, very good. So because of the steroid trial that was going on, Vince spent millions of dollars with lawyers and so many other fees involved that this was a time that they were not hiring anyone. They were, 2, letting people go, and 3, cutting salaries for everyone, especially those up high in administration. What I'm going to say next is in JJ's book, so I'm not revealing anything secret. They cut his, and Gerald Briscoe, who's a dear friend, verified this as well. They cut 60%, 60% of the salary of all those up in administration, to the point where JJ lost his house, which is why he left WWF and went back to WCW. So my connection was gone once JJ left. At that point, I did, again, this is 90, so I didn't have the connections that I have today. I had 2 beautiful little girls at home, gorgeous, beautiful women today, very blessed, both married, and Connie has given us a handsome grandson, Johnny. And so, honestly, I just kind of took it as a sign from God that, George, this is not the path I have for you. I still will have something for you when it comes to wrestling. Just have faith in me, and you'll see. Always have faith. I'm a man of God, and to see where my life has come full circle here with wrestling. And here's the best part, to put an end, a bow on the Paul Bearer story. So now I'm at Rick's last match. I'm in gorilla position. I would think most fans know what that is, but for those listening new, gorilla position is named after, you mentioned his name earlier, Gorilla Monsoon. When the wrestlers are ready to go through the curtain, come out to the ring, there's someone there to kind of give them guidance to say, okay, it's time to go. And so out of reverence for Gorilla, it's named after him. And so I'm in gorilla position, taking care of something for a minute. I wasn't there the whole night. I don't want to give that impression at all. I needed to take care of something, took care of it. I go to leave and I turn, and standing next to me is Mark Undertaker. Now, I don't normally curse, but inside of me I curse. Holy shit, Mark is here next to me. There is no way that I'm going to walk away and not tell him my story. And so I said, Mark, first of all, thank you for being here for Rick. Now, and I think we put some of those pictures up there earlier. I'm sure it helped that I I had my suit and tie on. I had my proper credentials on, and I was in gorilla position. So it wasn't like I stopped Mark out at the mall in in a t-shirt and jeans trying to tell him a story. So, oh, hello, Rick. And so I said I need to share this quick story with you, and I told him everything that I just shared with you, Stu, and I also began the story by saying, and I knew this because about a year or two ago, his wonderful wife, superstar herself, Michelle McCool, brought him back to Jesus. So Mark is very much a God-fearing religious man and so I began my sentence by saying, I know you're not going to believe this, but if I had a Bible, I would put my hand on it so you know I'm telling you the truth. And that really grabbed his attention, and then shared with him everything that I just said with you. And he would smile and smile and smile. And then when we got to the end, the reason why I do believe in all my heart that he believes me is because when I said, Mark, would you mind if we get a photo together? And he goes, are you kidding? I want to take a picture with you. Grabs my phone, puts it up, and took a selfie of him and I. And it's like, pinch me. This is not happening. I don't want to wake up. So I know he believed me. And that's just such a beautiful, testament to him as a human being. And the fact that, this moment happened for me. Very blessed.
Absolutely. Great hearing the background to that as well. Fantastic. And imagine that could have happened. I know it wasn't to be, unfortunately, with other stuff going on. But yeah, just fantastic. What a story. What a fantastic story.
My pleasure. I left out that I showed him a picture that actually I think it was a picture of me with the Iron Sheik at the TBS studio, with me with the dark hair and the mustache. And when he saw that, it was like, yep, I see the resemblance. That's
lovely. Lazar, I said we were going to get to your question. I know it's late down under as well, so thank you for watching. I know George appreciates you watching his episode here and your questions and just everything. Thank you so much. But he's got a question for you, George. My question I ask a lot of people involved with wrestling, event management, etc. And I'm going to read this from here because it's, I'll read it out to you. Thought I might ask you to pick your brain regarding this. My dream has always been to be a wrestling promoter, booker. Love the idea of producing. Yeah, I can surmise this because it's not showing properly in full. He wants to get involved with the wrestling business, does Lazar down under. So yeah, I think he just wants some advice. What can he do? Because you've been in the business so long, so I'd appreciate your advice.
Most definitely. And we are in Australia. Where in Australia is Lawrence?
Queensland. Yeah.
So Lawrence, the best advice I can give you is to find a local promotion that's in existence already. Wrestling is about trust. Wrestling is about the proper, like everything else in life, the proper connections and knowing people. So step number one is to show that, to find a local promotion, go there and volunteer for everything and anything. They always need help putting that ring up. The show can't happen without that ring. Although I know that George South, a name that the people know well, who, as he says, thank you, Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes for helping me pay my mortgage. He's definitely one of the unsung heroes. He was one of the preliminary guys, the workers that put over the big names. And George has his own promotion for many years. And one time something happened, the truck broke down, and he actually put on a show without a wrestling ring. So I know it can happen. But all joking aside, Lawrence, find a local promotion, go there and volunteer, help with everything and anything so you can be trusted. That's number one. Help setting up the ring, taking down the ring afterwards, sell programs, do whatever they need you to do, promote it on the, on different platforms. And then once you get that foot in and you're trusted, then they will open up slowly to you as well. You can offer them the opportunity to tell them what you can offer them, is what I'm trying to say. And of course, if you're going to promote, not only money is crucial, but how are you going to promote it? Social media is okay, but not everybody's on there. You're going to have to reach out to your local TV outlets, radio stations, print media. All of that is crucial in getting the word out. And the best way to do it is to make your connections initially by reaching out to the local promotions. If you do not have one in the area, the good thing is that means you can bring something new to the area, and people hopefully are hungry to see it. But without those connections, it's just very, very difficult. And Lawrence, this is talking straight to you. Since you and I are friends on Facebook, I will be very glad to talk to you in Messenger or on the phone there and answer and go into more detail on other ways that I can help make your dream happen. My dream came true. We will make your dream come true as well.
There you go, lads. Everyone's on your side, and it's great hearing from guys. And obviously, you've promoted for so many years as well. So I know, George, it's great. You've got that outlet now, Lazar. George is on your side with it, so it's great. Segueing away from wrestling for a moment, because he's put a comment up, but hopefully this will all show. Yeah, it will. My mum was adopted. However, did a DNA genealogy, found out that I have some Maltese background under my Italian category from my mum. From what I understand, Greece and Malta have good relations.
Yes, indeed. And of course, Italy was first settled by the Greeks. And so we have a huge connection. I'll give a little background on me real quick. So a couple of years ago, I decided to do the ancestry to find out my genealogy. And this blew me away. Now, those that look at my Facebook site know that I am as Greek can be when it comes to my heritage. What I always say is, I am Greek born and American bred, a thoroughbred. Well, I was a thoroughbred when I was young. Now I don't know, but this is what I'm going to say. So I'm very, very Greek. Promote our culture today. Actually, since we're going there, let me say this. Today is a very historic day in Greek history. It was October 28th, 1940. It is known as Ochi, which translated means no in Greek. It's known as Ochi Day. This was the day that, excuse me, I'm getting emotional here. This is the day that Italy, during World War II, Italy decided to invade Greece. They actually sent an ultimatum. Mussolini sent an ultimatum saying, surrender or we will invade you. And Greece answered with one word, Ochi, no. And of course, Mussolini invaded. And no disrespect to my Italian friends who I love very much, we took care of business and pushed them all the way back to Italy. So much so that Hitler, and this is, thank God it's finally starting to be known in history, in the history books. This is a little known fact, but Hitler had to divert his troops from attacking Russia to put down these bothersome Greeks who beat up his friend Mussolini, and it threw off his timetable to the point it took 4 or 5 months before the Greeks finally surrendered to Hitler. But that messed up the time frame enough that when Hitler did invade Russia, it was in the winter time, and because of that, they weren't prepared. The trucks, the tanks froze. The soldiers didn't have uniforms for the winter, and we know the rest of the story. They wound up surrendering. World War II ended. Stalin himself gives credit to the Greeks. Hitler himself gives credit to the Greeks for their bravery and history and turning the war around. That's how instrumental the Greeks were in bringing an end to World War II, and thank God, bringing an end to Hitler. And so So I know the history teacher in me had to include that lesson in there.
I've learned something.
But to finish up what Lauren said, and so I did the DNA, and come to find out, I am 79% Greek and 19% Italian.
Wow. Wow.
And the other one is like a little bit Middle Eastern and everything else. So, and I understood it immediately because, again, of the Greek and the Italian connection.
Amazing. Bit of history, a history lesson
Yes.
alongside the wrestling today on the show. George, I will let you plug the 2 VCW shows again in closing. And we will go, obviously, with the November 11th show at Alexandria, VA, as you say that, with Wheeler Yuta and Nyla Rose of AEW.
And that, of course, again, is November 11th. And we look forward to seeing all our fans from the Alexandria, Fredericksburg area, DC area. And I know for a fact, because fans have reached out to me, that fans from our area right here in the Hampton Roads area are driving all the way up to be at this event. And that again speaks volumes of the product that we produce, that people are willing to, that it's not like they're going to AW, or it's not like they're going to WWE. They're going to a VCW show all the way. It's a good 3-hour drive all the way up there. We will see that amazing match with Logan versus Yuta. We will see all the other amazing matches. And then what do we have happening on December 2nd?
Here we go.
And Tidings of Destruction, our Christmas show, guaranteed to have match after match after match of incredible talent that we showcase every time. We're so happy and proud of our wrestlers, and part of that will be my final goodbye to our wrestling fans, at least as the commissioner. And I will be commissioner, for that night, of course. But after that, it will be time to say so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye. So please go to VCWProWrestling.com and get those tickets now. I want this place to be sold out, and I want us to rock the joint out as we end the 2023 year.
Absolutely. And I look forward to the video that gets put up every time of the queue coming into the venue, because I love that. When everyone's queuing to come to the show, it's brilliant.
Oh,
it's brilliant.
You, yes.
Everyone's hyped, everyone's ready, everyone's excited. Families as well, which is great. The kids, parents, grandparents, you name it. It's a family show with VCW, isn't it?
It really is. We pride ourselves in being family friendly. And I make sure, because as a fan, I enjoyed so much meeting, back in those days, it wasn't the security that we have today. So it was very easy for me to meet the young Ric Flairs and the young Ricky Steamboats and everyone else that we talked about in the previous episode. And so I make sure now that our wrestlers come out during intermission, take pictures with the fans, give them an opportunity to maybe make some extra dollars by selling their merchandise. But to me, so important that they take the time to talk to the fans, because without the fans, we would not be where we are today.
Absolutely.
And you and I are fans at heart. I will never, ever, ever stop being a wrestling fan.
It's incredible when it gets you, whenever it gets you, and you become so emotionally invested with pro wrestling. It's just amazing. Some people don't get it. That's just part. But I think they respect, because they love other things. So yes. I think they do respect it. But yeah, when it gets hold of you and it takes hold of you, that's it.
Right. I went through my stage. I went through my stage at one time, but it pulled me back. I think with wrestling, you either love it or you don't. There's no in between.
Absolutely. George, thank you so much. Thank you once again. Two-time guest on Stu's Wrestling Podcast, all the way from Virginia, by way of Greece. Nice hearing about your Greek roots there. A bit of Italian as well. in there.
Yes,
and
sir.
thank you so much. The owner, promoter of Virginia Championship Wrestling, VCW, with 2 shows, November 11th and December 2nd. Your swan song with VCW in December. Thank you so much for being on the spooky episode. It's I put some Halloween style colours in, but
I love it.
maybe we should have done some makeup and put some outfits on. But yeah, we're Halloween. We're Halloween in colour on here with the titles.
So, first, I forgot earlier to congratulate you. Very important. This is 160 episodes, Stu. That is amazing. So very happy for you. May soon we see another 160 episodes. You and what you also do for not only for the wrestling community, but you also speak from the heart when it comes to depression and when it comes to things that just really mean a lot to you, and I thank you for that.
Not a problem. Like I say, I know it's the age-old adage, and people say it time and time again. If those posts help just one person, and I know that could be cliche, people can tie that up. But if it just it's helped more than one. But if it just helps one person, I know it's serving a purpose. Whether it be in video or text form, I think I prefer video form with those mental health posts because I can convey myself a bit better. Sometimes people don't get words correct and misconstrue what you're saying, but it's just to help. It's to help people, and I just live one day at a time, George, because I was looking too far ahead. Things were worrying me. And I've just totally changed, and it's having the time with my son. I've got to lead by example. That's helped me, because I've got to pave the way for him now.
Yes, sir. Yes, beautiful family. But yes, your mental posts are really. I know for a fact that they're helping people, and I thank you for opening up. And it does. We never really are aware the lives that we touch. So many people have approached me through the years, from my students to the fans, and say, oh, thank you for being there, and I wasn't even aware they were paying attention. So I know you have touched people's lives with your variety of your posts. So God bless you. Don't stop.
I appreciate that so much, honestly. Thank you.
So I didn't say this to you earlier. I want to end with a little silly Halloween joke.
Yes,
okay?
Please,
so here we go.
Please do. We need something Halloween based on this, as it is Halloween edition of SWP.
Yes, indeed. So why is a vampire not, N-O-T, not a good friend?
I don't know, George, but I know you're going to tell me.
Because he's a pain in the neck. But I'm fun.
I was doing a ghoulish laugh then. That was my attempt at a ghoulish laugh.
I love you so much. Thank you for having me. It's been an honor and a privilege.
I love you too, mate. You've been so kind to me. And to come on a Saturday, because I know you love spending time with the family and doing stuff around Virginia. So thank you for sparing a Saturday to come on, because I know if you're not promoting the shows or you're at other events and stuff, I know you're busy over the weekends as well. So thank you for sparing the time for coming on again.
Awesome. Take care, and you and I will talk soon.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
That's probably my guest for his second appearance. We'll have a third appearance into 2024. Definitely. It's Mr. George Pantas. I need to pronounce it. I pronounce it differently, being UK. The owner and promoter of VCW, Virginia Championship Wrestling. Thank you for coming on for episode 60, George.
Much love. Thank you.
Take care, mate. All the best.
You too.